Hey guys! So I posted a poll on my Instagram story the other day asking everyone to vote for which color scheme I would use for the next tutorial, and this one was the winner. So I was looking at this color scheme and I thought, you know what, it would be a really nice color scheme to go with for a floral design. So that's exactly what I did. I created this matte floral design. So if this is something that you want to learn how to do or see all my little tips and tricks, keep on watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have any comments, post them below. Okay guys, so in my gel polish and gel paint collection, I do not have these exact colors, so I am going to mix colors to try to achieve this color scheme. Now the one thing I want to mention first and foremost is that if you are going to mix colors, it is 100% best if you can stick with the same brand or product line. So if you're going to use, a few Ugly Duckling colors, try to use all Ugly Duckling colors. If you're going to use Madam Glam, try to use all Madam Glam. Now that being said, I don't have all of those colors in one brand that I'm looking for to try to achieve these, so I am going to mix several brands. I have done that in the past. I do it all the time, and I've not experienced any issues thus far. But that being said, I do have a new color and company that I'm using, JOHENS, the cream color gels. I've never used those, so I don't know how well they are going to mix with these brands. So that is obviously a good reason for doing this video, so that I kind of, be the guinea pig for you guys and show you how well things work. And if something doesn't work, then you don't have to waste your time doing it. So I'm going to jump into the colors here. So I'm going to start with, I've got one from MOSAIC called Fuchsia Metal. And it's obviously a fuchsia. It's a very vibrant color. There's a little bit of shimmer in that one. So I've got that guy. Then I've got two Ugly Ducklings. I've got number 47, which is just a red, a primary red color. And then I've got also from Ugly Duckling, number 59, which is a green, a dark green, like a forest green. And as mentioned, I have the JOHENS cream color gel. Again, this is the one that I'm unsure how it's going to work because I am going to be mixing it with a very small amount of the Madam Glam gel polish, and I have never done that before, so I don't know how well it's going to work. And then moving into the Madam Glam colors, I am going to be using Madam Glam's Back to Cali, and then also Angel Wings, Peachy. I love this teal color. This is one of my favorite of the Madam Glams that I have, and it's called PICIFIC. And then last, another Madam Glam called Early Bird. So I'm thinking with all of these colors, I am going to be able to magically mix up and achieve these colors here. So then we are going to move into the stamping plate. So you're going to want a stamping plate that has a lace pattern. So again, most of my stamping plates, if not all of them, have been purchased on eBay, so they do not have a brand name for the most part. Some of them do. This one is just labeled BC-03. Again, I will link everything that I can find below for you guys. So the thing with the lace stamp that you want to just make sure is that you find a stamp that has a has an end on it, or an edge on it, excuse me. So you don't want a full coverage design like this. You want something with a bit of an edge, like this one or like this one. Now, if you don't have one that has an edge, you could use something like this. You would just have to use alcohol or acetone and clean off that area, which would be kind of a lot of work and a bit of a pain in the butt. So try to find one with an edge like this. And then you are going to need, obviously, a polish, a stamping polish, or a stamping gel, whichever you prefer, in white. I've just got this little one from Born Pretty here. And your scraper, obviously, for the stamp. And then I've got this little stamper, probably from eBay. I've never used it. It is a double-ended. It does have an end on both. But I'm going to remove this end so I can see through it. It's just a little teensy one. So I'm just going to give that guy a try today. And then as far as art brushes, everyone knows if you've watched my other videos, this is my absolute favorite detail brush that I purchased on eBay. I probably purchased like 4 or 5 of them when I did, and obviously over the years they just get worn down, and this is my last one and I cannot find it anywhere on eBay, so I am hoping this lasts forever. And as I've mentioned in other videos, I use these pencil grips just to help with carpal tunnel, but I will say that I don't know how I missed this. I went through my brush kit and I have this really pretty Crystal Nails one. It's a 0 short. It's a detailer brush. So I'm going to also use this one. I'm going to start with using this one to see how nice it works. I'm sure I've used it before because it definitely looks used, but for whatever reason I forgot I had it. So I'm going to start off with this guy and see how well it works, and if it doesn't work I will switch back to my good old trusty eBay one. And then finally, as I mentioned, we're doing a matte, or I don't know if I mentioned it actually, but we're doing a matte top coat. So I'm using this 2M Beauty one. I love it. I actually did it on my own pinky nail the other day. And the one thing that I will say that I noticed that I like a lot better than the Ugly Duckling one is the feel of it. I found that the Ugly Duckling one felt I don't even know, like fuzzy or something. I just, when I would like wipe the client's nail or, you know, whatever, I just hated how it felt. This does not feel that way. So I'm very satisfied with this, and will continue to use this one until I guess I want to try another one. So I got this one from the Pink Chair. And other than that, I think that's everything. So hang in there, guys. We're going to get started. Okay guys, so we are going to start with this darker blushy rosy color. So I'm going to add a little bit of this, what is the number on this one? M10 from MOSAIC. So I'm going to add a little bit of that. Clean off my spatula. I'm also going to add some of the Madame Glam Angel Wings also to that, and I'm going to start there. So let's first off just mix those two together, and actually that looks pretty close. I think I will add a tiny bit of the nude color, the Back to Cali, just to kind of dull it out a little bit. Let's see what happens there. Basically, you just keep playing and adding small amounts. You obviously want to add smaller amounts rather than, you know, larger amounts. So it's still looking a little bit on the, I want to say, purple side. So I am going to add a little bit more of this lighter pink here. Just kind of blend that in. Then I'm going to now work on this one here. And this Angel Wings is actually quite close to that, but I think that I need to add a little tiny bit of the orange color. I'm just gonna add it over here so I can bring it into the color rather than, oh shoot, I put too much. So I'm just gonna grab some and add it. Yeah, and that's definitely giving us more of a blush pink tone. Then for the white color, I'm actually going to make it a little bit off-white. So that is going to be our base for all of the nails. And the reason being, because I'm doing the white stamp on top, I want the stamp to show up a little bit more. So I'm going to mix up, and I'm going to take the Back to Cali and just a very small amount. I think I'm going to add just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit more. There. So I've got that. So that's the main color. Then we're going to move into the darker green. So I'm going to take my Ugly Duckling number 59. And I'm going to grab a good little dollop of that. And then I'm going to mix into that some of the nude color. And let's see how close. Oh, this is not turning at all how that color looks. So I am going to grab a little bit of the teal. And a little bit of this green. So that looks pretty good. Then we're going to go into the lighter green color, which is more of, I would say, like an army green. And keep in mind that I'm mixing quite a bit. You don't need to mix this much because this is just for the art and the flowers. So maybe be a little more mindful to not waste your color in the way that I am. So I'm going to now add a little bit of that. Actually, let me take some of that green off of there because I don't need to have that much. And we're going to add some of this back to CALI into that green. That looks pretty darn good to me. I don't know if you can see in the camera, but the colors look pretty darn close. So after mixing this white color, I felt that it was a bit too light and that the white stamp wouldn't stand out at all against it. So I did add a little bit more of that back to CALI color and just made it a little bit darker of an off-white. Okay, so I have started off by doing the 2 coats of the off-white, or it's very, 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 very pale nude. I don't know if it's showing up in here. So the background of my paper here is actually a blush pink. So if you can tell the difference in the tone, this is definitely a lot whiter than that. So it's still got a white tone to it, but I do think that the nail polish stamp is going to show up better on this. So I'm glad I darkened it up a bit. Now, that being said, exactly what I mentioned about mixing 2 different brands kind of happened here. So it's the first time for me, and of course it happens on film, but that's the beauty of me doing these videos, is that you can learn from my trials and maybe not do the same thing and waste time or product. I would not mix the JOHENS cream colored gels with the Madame Glam, and I would not use that on a client. So when I did my swatch stick of the JOHENS cream color gel, the white, the other day in my haul video, the product applied really nice. It self-leveled really nice. It was a really nice product. When I mixed it with the Madame Glam, it was a lot harder to apply. It did not self-level. Actually, you can see, I don't know if it'll pick it up, but on the pinky nail here, there's little like divots in it. You can see like all around the edge. It was a pain in the butt to apply. I feel like the chemistry of the product changed. There was even like little, I don't know, it seemed like little dust particles kind of in there, and I thought, well, maybe I got dust in the mix or something, so I made a whole new mix, and the same thing happened. So I would not mix the JOHENS cream color gels and the Madame Glam. I would not mix those 2. So that being said, the other thing that I did was, because the JOHENS does have a tacky layer, I did just wipe the dispersion layer off of them all, and now I'm ready to apply the art. Alright, so I'm going to start with the pointer finger and the ring finger because they are the ones that are going to have the little bit of lace detail. So I'm hoping that the white will stand out. It is a very fine pattern of a stamp, so we are going to wing it and hope that it works out. So we're going to just take our nail polish, or if you are doing a stamping gel, and just do your stamp like you normally would. Scrape off the paint, roll it onto the stamper, and then we are going to apply it. I'm just trying to line it up a little bit at an angle. Yeah, so it showed up. And that's all I wanted. I don't want it to be super, you know, like if it was a really dark background and then the lace. I wanted it to be a very, very soft detail because we're going to be adding some of the flowers. So now I will do the ring finger as well. So I'm going to start with the thumbnail and then move through the rest of the fingers. Now the easiest way that I find when doing flowers and things like this is start with one color and do that color on all of the nails, just so you don't have to clean your brush in between. It's a lot more work. So I'm going to start by applying the darker blushy reddy color and I'm going to create my sort of, I don't know if you want to call them signature flowers, but just the regular pointed 5 petal, or they can have 6 petals or 7 petals, whichever you prefer. But I'm going to start by applying the darker pink color and creating those petals. Now in between each layer I am going to flash cure, and I did want to mention that I am again using this Crystal Nails art brush, and so far I quite like it. So now moving on to the pointer finger and the ring finger, the ones that have the lace on them. So basically I'm just going to add some flowers in this area. I don't want to cover up that edge. I'm going to first again start with this main darker color here, the darker pink, and I'm going to create that same type of flower. And now when you're doing these flowers, you want to obviously, you know, each nail you want to kind of be slightly different. So you want to stagger some of them off the side. Some of them you could just do 3 petals off the side. Some of them, like I'm doing here, will have a full flower visible, and that's what you want to do with all of the different flowers that we're going to do. Now this one is going to have 6 petals, but again you could do 5, you could do 7, whatever your heart desires. So for the next flower, I'm actually going to go into the darker pink and the lighter pink, and I'm going to create sort of a rose type of effect. So I'm just kind of marbling on the side here, the 2 colors, grabbing them so I don't, you know, ruin the whole blend of color. I don't want to mix it right in the middle. Now we're going to go into the lighter pink color, and I'm just going to create little tiny petals. Now this is an easy petal or flower to do. Basically you just take your brush and you press down and you're kind of flattening the brush. Now you can make them as short or as long as you want. So you just press down like that and create a petal. So next we're going to go into the dark teal color and we're going to create some greenery. So you want your brush to be not super filled with the paint because we're going to do a thin little line. And you're just going to create a curved line, and then you're going to apply a little petal or a leaf at the top using the same method that we used to create this bigger flower with the petals. And then you're going to stagger them on each side. So for the next little bit of greenery, we are going to basically mix the paint like we did for the rose petals. So first we're just going to go in and create our stem of the greenery. And this one's going to be a little bit shorter. And then I'm going to dip into my dark green and into my light green and kind of marble them and pick up the color. And then I'm going to create petals like we have here on this light pink flower. I'm just going to press down. So they're going to be kind of like little bubbles as opposed to having the points on them like the other greenery did. So next what you're going to do is you're going to just take a look at your design and see where you want to fill in and where you want more greenery, where you want to add more whatever color. You could do flowers in the greens as well. So I feel like I want to add a little bit of greenery again down here, similar to here. So I'm just going to go in and do that. And then continue filling in all the different areas. You want the nail to be quite full of the petals and the flowers. And then again, continue to cure in between each layer. So lastly, I'm going to go in with the JOHENS, just the pure white, and I'm actually going to mix it on my palette with a little bit, because it's very thick, I'm just going to mix it with a little alcohol to thin it out a little bit, just so that it applies a bit easier, because this is when we're going to add all the final little details. So for the centers of the flowers, we're going to use this white. So you could use a dotting tool, but I'm just going to use my brush. So for bigger flowers like this, I sometimes will just create multiple dots and filling in the area. And then same over here, because this has a bigger, space to fill. And then smaller flowers like this, we just put one dot in the center. And for the rose, I just like to go with a little bit of the white and create sort of just highlights, I guess you would say, sorry. Like that. And lastly, what I will do is go in with the green, and I will add just little dots. I don't know why, I always tend to add these little dots when I do floral patterns. So I just add them in groups of 3s, throughout the nail, and you could do them in any of the colors. I'm going to go in with the greens on both of them, and then I'm going to add just single little dots with the lighter green. Like so.
And to finish everything off, I added the matte top coat, and voila, they look so pretty. I absolutely love how they turned out. The colors match perfectly to the color scheme that was chosen on the Instagram story. The only downside is you can't really see the lace in this video, but it definitely is there in person. You can see the little detail and it looks beautiful.